Hello, good day viewers. I would like to present to you the solutions to the NECO 2023 Mathematics Examination essay questions. We have question 1 down to question number 12. And this question paper contains two parts, part 1 and part 2. In part 1, each question carries 8 marks, while in part 2, each question carries what? 12 marks. In part A, we have question 1 down to question number 5. You see the last question here, and part 2 begins with question number 6 down to question number 12. You can see them right here. So now let us begin with question number 1. Question number 1, it reads, P varies directly as the square of Q and inversely as the cube of Z when P is equal to 5, Q equal to 3, and Z equal to 1. Let us write the relationship before we come back to the questions. You can see that P varies directly as what? Square of Q, meaning we are going to square Q. We square that. And inversely as the cube of Z. Then we divide by Z to the third power, which implies that P is equal to, we use equality sign and introduce a certain constant, which we can call K, that will multiply the whole of this expression. So we have K multiplied by the whole of Q squared divided by Z to the third power. All right, this is the relationship because you can see question 1, it stated that we should find the relationship between P, Q, and Z. But we have to find this constant of proportionality, which is K. And how can we do that? Let us make that K the subject by multiplying both sides by the reciprocal of this. And hence, K would be equal to P multiplied by Z to the third power divided by Q to the second power. But remember, from the question, it stated that this statement is true when P is equal to 5, Q equal to 3, and Z equal to 1. So let's substitute them in order to find the value of K. So K is equal to P, which is 5, multiplied by Z, which is 1 to the third power. We have 1 to the third power, divided by Q, which is 3 to the second power. If you simplify this, you have 1 to the third power is 1, 3 to the second power is 9. So we have 1 over 9 times 5, which is what? 5 divided by 9. And hence, the value of K is 5 divided by 9. And we can simply plug it back into this in order to find the relationship. Therefore, Roman 1 that asks us to find the relationship between these three variables would be P equal to K, but K is 5 over 9. 5 divided by 9, then multiplied by Q squared divided by Z to the third power. And this is nothing but the relationship between them. And if you like, you can multiply and join the two terms together. P will now be equal to 5Q squared divided by 9Z to the third power. And hence, this is the relationship. Then second question here under number 1, it stated that we should find Z when P is 3 and Q is 5. So, Roman number 2, we are looking for, is it P? No, we are looking for Z, but P is given as 3 and Q is given as 5, right? Yes, and we are looking for Z or none. All right, we are going to use the relationship, which is this one. Let me just copy that. Remember, we are looking for Z. If you like, you can make it the subject directly from this relationship, or you can simply substitute. Let's substitute. P is 3, 5 multiplied by Q squared, which is 5 squared, then divide by 9 multiplied by Z to the third power. Remember, we are looking for Z. Hence, you can take this Z and switch it with this 3, right? So that Z to the third power will now be equal to 5 multiplied by 5 squared divided by 9 multiplied by 3. Once 3 comes down here, it will multiply 9. 5 squared is 25, and 25 times 5 is 125. So this is equal to 125. Divide by 9 times 3 is 27. 27. I remember we are looking for z, not z to the third power, and hence we have to take cube root of both sides. And z will now be equal to the cube root of 125 divided by 27. And cube root of 125 is 5. Divided by cube root of 27 is 3. Because you have to think of a number you can multiply by itself in 3 places. You know, you can write this one as 5 to the third power divided by 3 to the third power, right? So that this power of 3's will cancel the cube root, leaving only 5 over 3, right? And hence, z is equal to 5 divided by 3. And hence, we have just answered completely question number 1. Now, let us move on to question number 2. The A part of question number 2 reads, the sum of the interior angles of a regular polygon is 1440. Roman 1. How many sides has the polygon? Roman 2. Find the size of each exterior angle. And the B part of question number 2 reads, find the principal that will earn 29,880 naira in 15 years at the rate of 3% per annum simple interest. All right, let's get started with A part. What is a regular polygon? A polygon is said to be regular if and only if all the interior angles have the same measure. Example, in an equilateral triangle, you know all angles are 60 degrees each. This is one of the example of a regular polygon. So that polygon has all its interior angles equal to one another. So remember this formula which stated that to find the sum of all the interior angles of a regular polygon, you can take n minus 2, where n stands for the number of sides or the number of angles. I told you they are all the same. Multiply by 180 degrees. This will give us the sum of all the angles. So we can expand. 180 times n will give us 180n. Minus 2 times 180 is 360. But already the sum is given to us as 1440. Right? So you can simply take this one to the other side. It will become positive. So we have 180n equal to 1440 plus 360. 180n equal to 1800. Then you divide both sides by 180, and n is equal to 10. This implies that that particular polygon has how many sides? 10 sides and 10 angles. So since it has 10 sides, it means it is a what? Decagon. So we have answered Roman 1 of A part. Then Roman 2, we're asked to find the size of what? Each exterior angle. What is an exterior angle? Suppose this is how the polygon looks like. Let me show you. This is Roman 2. Suppose it is something like this, like this. I don't know how it looks like. We should know it has 10 sides. So these are the interior angles. All of these are interior angles. So exterior angle is the angle outside. Something like this. So this particular angle outside is said to be exterior. I can even call it x. So there are two different ways to find this x. You can either find the angle inside, then you subtract it from 180 because this is a straight line. And you know that angle on a straight line equals 180. So let me show you the two different ways to find it. Since we know that this particular polygon has 10 sides and 10 angles, and the sum of all equal to 1440. If you divide it by 10, each angle will be what? 144, sorry. So this 144 plus x will be 100 and what? 80 definitely. So this x can be equal to 180 minus 144. And this is equal to what? 36 degrees each. So each exterior angle measured 36 degrees. And how can we find it apart from this method? Remember that the sum of all the exterior angles of a polygon is equal to 360. So we can have another x here, we can have another x here, all of this. If you add all of them together, remember they are 10 in number, you're going to get 360. Therefore, 360 divided by 10 will give us that angle as well. So since we have 10 x's equal to 360, x can be 360 divided by 10. So x equal to 36 degrees. So in either way, you have to find this 36 degrees. So the exterior angle, each exterior angle measured 36 degrees, and the number of sides are 10. So we have just answered the Roman 1 and Roman 2 of A part. Now let us move on to the B part. The question reads, find the principal that will earn 29,880 in 15 years at 3% per annum simple interest. All right, this is to be simple interest is equal to the principal times rate times the time divided by 100, right? But the simple interest is given from the question as what? 29,880. The rate is also given as 3%. The time is given as 15 years. And what are we looking for? We are looking for the principal. So let's substitute. We have 29,880 equal to the principal that we are looking for times the rate 3 times 15 divided by 100. Take this and multiply by this. You have 29,88000 equal to P multiplied by 15 times 3 is 45. Now we divide both sides by 45. P, which is the principal, is equal to 2,988,000 divided by 45. And this is equal to 66,400 naira. Therefore, the principal amount is 66,400. Now let us move on to question number 3. Question number 3, it reads, the length of the chord AB, you can see that here, in the diagram below is 12 cm. With the center of this cycle as O, you can see that right here, an angle ACB is 30 degrees. ACB, which is this one. We're asked to find the value of theta, this particular angle. We're also asked to find the radius of the cycle. A to O is a radius, B to O is also a radius. Then B, Roman 1, we are asked to calculate the area of the shaded region. You can see that right here. Correct to 3 significant figures, and we are asked to take pi as 22 divided by 7. And lastly, we are asked what type of triangle is AOB. You can see AOB, we are talking about this particular triangle. Which type of triangle is this? So let's get started. Question 3. A, Roman 1. Roman 1, we are asked the measure of angle theta. Okay, we are going to start with what we know to find what we don't know. Remember, from cycle theorem, it stated that angle subtended to the center is always twice the angle subtended to the circumference if at all they are measured from the same chord. So you can see this is a chord AB. Chord AB subtends an angle to the center as well as to the circumference, which means that theta must be 60 degrees. So let's write it here. Theta that we are looking for is equal to twice. What is the angle? It is ACB. So ACB You can even state it from cycle theorem, right? And theta is now equal to 2 multiplied by 30 degrees, which is equal to 60 degrees. And hence, we have just answered this one. Then let's move to Roman 2. Roman 2, we are asked to find the radius of the cycle. All right, observe something. According to the cycle theorem, it stated that the chord and the radii always form an isosceles triangle. What is an isosceles triangle? An isosceles triangle has its base angle to be the same. So this particular angle must be equal to this one, because this is a chord, this is a radius, this is a radius. They always form an isosceles triangle. All right, remember we are looking for the radius. And we have seen that this particular angle is 60 degrees. Oh, if it is 60 degrees, and we know that these two angles are the same, it means that the sum of these two angles must be 120, because if you add it to 60, you're going to get 180. So if it is 120, if you divide it by 2, because they are exactly the same, you're going to get 60, 60 each. Oh, this is an equilateral triangle. This is why I told you we are going to use what we know to find what we don't know. So we learned that it is an isosceles triangle, but in the end, we realized it is an equilateral triangle. An equilateral triangle has all its sides equal, including the angles. So if the length of this chord is 12, all other legs must be 12. So the radius will also be 12. So let me write it here. The radius is 12 cm. And you can state the reason, because the triangle is what? Equilateral. So we have answered this one. Then we move to the next one, which is B part. Roman 1 was the question. We're asked to calculate the area of the shaded region. So observe something here. We are looking for this particular area. How can we find it? First of all, we need to compute for the entire area of this region, which is a sector, right? After you have obtained the area of a sector, you need to find the area of this triangle. Then you subtract the area of triangle from the area of sector. Just observe what is left is the shaded region. So that's what we need to do. So that particular area we are looking for, it is equal to the area of sector minus the area of triangle. All right. So how can we find the area of sector? Let me write the formula. Area of sector, it is equal to the angle subtended by that sector out of the total angle of a cycle, which is 360 degrees, multiplied by pi r squared. So what is the angle subtended? Remember, we obtained it to be 60 degrees. So we have 60 divided by 360 multiplied by pi. They say we should use 22 divided by 7 multiplied by radius squared. Remember, the radius is 12 whole squared. The more steps you add, the more marks you earn. But if you like, you can compute everything directly from here. 60 into 60 is 1. Divide by 60 into 360 is 6. Multiply by 22, divide by 7, multiply by 144. So from here, you can take 1 times 22 times 144. And this will give us 3,168. Divide by, you take 6, you multiply by 7, which is 42. Then you divide. And this is equal to 75.429. Let's leave it like this. This is the area of sector. Area of sector. Then we need to find the area of triangle. So area of triangle. Since it is an equilateral triangle and we know that that angle is 60 degrees, we can use this formula, that is 1 divided by 2 multiplied by radius squared, which is 12 squared, multiplied by sine of that angle, which is 60 degrees. This is equal to 1 over 2 multiplied by 144 multiplied by square root of 3 divided by 2, because that is sine of 60 degrees, right? Half of 144 is 72. So this is equal to 72 multiplied by root 3 divided by 2. And if you divide 72 by 2, you're going to get 36. So this is equal to 36 root 3. But let us write it in decimal. This is approximately 62.354. So remember, we are going to subtract area of triangle from area of sector. Therefore, the area we are looking for will be equal to 75.429 minus area of triangle, which is 62.354. Let's subtract, and this is equal to 13.07517. But remember, they said in 3 significant figures. So in 3 significant figures, it will be what? 13.1. So this is the area. What is the unit? Is this centimeter? Yeah, centimeter squared. So we are done with this question. Then they ask us to find which type of triangle is this. Already we have mentioned that this is an equilateral triangle. So B Roman 2, triangle AOB is an equilateral triangle, right? So we have just finished answering all these questions, number 3. Now let us move on to question number 4. All right, here is question number 4. Let's start with A part. We are asked to solve this particular equation, 27 to the power of 2x minus 1 multiplied by 1 divided by 3 to the power of negative 3x plus 2 equal to 9 to the power of x plus 3. So I will start reducing it from here, because I know that 27 is the same thing as 3 to the power of 3. So this is 3 to the power of 3, but we already have another exponent, which is 2x minus 1, 2x minus 1. Then multiply by, I can write 1 over 3 as 3 to the negative 1. 3 to the negative 1 is the same thing as 1 over 3. But we already have another exponent of negative 3x plus 2. This is equal to 9 is the same thing as 3 squared. So we have 3 squared. But we have another power of x plus 3. Right? We are moving. So from here we can expand this. We have 3 to the power of 3 times 2 is 6x minus 3 times 1 is 3. Then multiplied by, you see this negative 1 times this negative will give us what? Positive. So this is just 3 to the power of 3x plus 2. This is equal to 3 to the power of 2 times x is 2x plus 2 times 3 is 6. So we are going to apply one of the laws of indices here, because the bases are the same and we are multiplying. Hence, we can take a base and add the exponent, 6x minus 3 plus 3x plus 2. And this is equal to 3 to the power of 2x plus 6. 6 plus 3 is 9, right? So we have 3 to the power of 9x. Minus 3 plus 2 is minus 1. So minus 1. This is equal to 3 to the power of 2x plus 6. Since the bases are the same, we are going to equate the exponents, which implies 9x minus 1 is equal to 2x plus 6. Let's collect the like terms, bring this one to the left and take this one to the right. We have 9x minus 2x as 2 crosses over, 2x crosses over. This is equal to 6. As -1 crosses over, it becomes +1. This is 7x equal to 7, which means that what? X must be equal to 1, because 1 times 7 is 7. So by dividing both sides, if you like, you can divide both sides by 7. Finally, you can see that x equal to 1, because 7 cancels 7, and 7 divided by 7 is 1. So the value of x is equal to 1. Then the second question, we are asked to differentiate this function. So the b part, we are asked to differentiate 2x squared plus 5 whole to the power of 4. I'm going to show you two different ways to do that. But first of all, let's start with the traditional way. So if y is equal to 2x squared plus 5 whole to the power of 4, let u be equal to 2x squared plus 5, so that y becomes just u to the power of 4. Why? Because we have let the whole of this to be u, therefore y will be equal to u to the power of 4. So we are going to differentiate this and differentiate this. We differentiate u with respect to x, because this is u, this is x. Using power rule, 2 will drop down to multiply 2. We have 4x. You reduce 1 here, it becomes 1. And derivative of constant is 0. Then here we are going to differentiate y with respect to u. So what do we have? We have dy over du to be equal to 4u to the power of 3, because the 4 will drop down to multiply, and you have to reduce 1 from 4. So this is what we have. So applying chain rule, is stated that dy over dx is nothing but dy over du multiplied by du over dx. Just observe, du will cancel du, we have dy over dx. So what is dy over du? Is 4u to the third power. So we have 4u to the third power multiplied by du over dx is just 4x. So we have 4x. 4 times 4 is 16, so we have 16x times u to the power of 3. But we have learned that u is equal to the whole of this, 2x squared plus 5. So this is equal to 16x multiplied by 2x squared plus 5, which is u, but u is to the third power, right? So this is dy over dx. But let me show you the shortcut. So if you have y to be equal to this and you wish to differentiate it, just take this power, drop it down. We have 4. Repeat this one, 2x squared plus 5 to the power of 4 minus 1 is 3. Then you multiply by, you differentiate what is inside. If you differentiate this one, 2 will drop down to multiply 2. You have 4. X to the power of 2 minus 1 is 1. And derivative of this one is 0. So you stop here. All you have to do is to take this 4 and multiply by 4x. This is dy over dx, remember? So therefore dy over dx is equal to 16x. 2x to the power of 2 plus 5. And this is just the solution. So now let us move on to question number 5, right? Question number 5. In a certain school, the principal gave analysis of the qualified subject teachers in the school as follows. There are 10 English teachers, 8 mathematics teachers, 4 physics teachers, 6 French teachers, and 12 biology teachers. A. We are asked to draw a pie chart to illustrate this information. Then the second question here reads, if 2 teachers are to represent the school in a workshop, what is the probability that both will come from either physics or biology? All right, a pie chart is nothing but a sectorial representation of data. Therefore, we have to compute for those angles respectively. Let's get started. We have the subjects, then number of teachers. We are going to add all of them together. We have 10 plus 8 plus 4 plus 6 plus 12. All of this will give us 40. You can compute that. This is 40. Then the last thing, angle of a sector. How can we compute for these angles of sectors? The first one here, we are going to take 10 out of 40, then we multiply by 360. Remember that in a cycle, the sum of all angles in a cycle is what? 360, or at a point. So I think we don't have much space here, so I will compute that directly. Or you can do that elsewhere. You can say 10 divided by 40 multiplied by 360 degrees. Whatever you obtain, you should write it here. So 10 divided by 40 is equal to 0.25. You multiply by 360, that will give us 90. So this represents 90 degrees. Then you take the second one, which is 8. 8 divided by 40 multiplied by 360, that will give us 72 directly. This is 72 degrees. We do for this one. We take 4, we divide by 40, we multiply by 360. That will give us 36 degrees. We take 6, divide by 40, multiply by 360. That will give us 54 degrees. And lastly, we take 12, we divide by 40, we multiply by 360. That will give us 108 degrees. And if you want to confirm these angles, you can add all of them together. You must get 360 degrees. Let's do that. 90 plus 72 plus 36 plus 54 plus 108. That's exactly 360 degrees. The next thing to do is to represent all of these subjects in a sector. And how can we do that? First of all, you have to draw a cycle with a center. Then you start with English, which is 90 degrees. So something like this. This is 90 degrees. You write English here. Then you move to the second one, which is 72 degrees. Something like this. I'm going to show you the real working, but this is just an estimation. 72 degrees, you write 72 degrees here, which represent what? Mathematics. So this is math. Then we have 36 degrees, which represent physics. Something like this. 36 degrees, physics. Then we have 54 degrees, which represent French. This is just an estimation. I will show you the real working. This is 54 degrees for French. And lastly, whatever will be left will be 108 for what? Biology. But let me show you how to do that using compass. Just bring out your compass. Draw a convenient cycle, any cycle of your choice. After you have done that, use ruler, connect the center to any part of the circumference. So this is the center to any part of the circumference. This is that. So the first angle we need to construct is that of what? English, which is represented by 90 degrees. Use your protractor. This is my protractor. Measure 90 degrees. You can see this is where we have 90 degrees. Then you write what? English. This is English. And you should know that this is 90 degrees. Then bring back the protractor again. Place it here. We're going to construct the second angle, which is what? 72 degrees. You should measure 72 degrees. 72 degrees. This is 72 degrees. You can see that. This is mathematics, 72 degrees. Then the third one is physics, which is represented by 36 degrees. 36. This is 36 degrees. This is physics. Then second to the last is 54 degrees. This is 54 degrees for French. Then lastly, this angle must be 108 degrees for what? Biology. And hence we have just answered the A part. We have represented the information on a pie chart. Then we have the B part. First of all, we need to know the number of teachers in this category. Remember, we're talking about physics and biology. For physics, we have how many teachers? We have 4 of them. For biology, we have 12 of them. So let me write them here. So you can see that we have 4 physics teachers and 12 biology teachers. I told you I'm going to show you 2 different ways. And we only want to find the probability of what? Picking 2. And one should be from biology and the other one should be from physics. So you should know that probability P is equal to what? Number of favorable outcome divided by what? Total number of outcomes. So to find the number of favorable outcomes, I'm going to use combination. That is my first method. So the first method, number of ways to choose 2 teachers from physics or biology will be what? So let me even write it here. Number is what? 4 combination 2 plus 12 combination 2. All right? This is for what? Physics, and this is for biology. You know that O stands for addition. All right. And the total outcome would be what? You know we have 40 teachers, so it would be 40 combination 2. So to find this probability P, it will be equal to 4 combination 2 plus 12 combination 2 divided by 40 combination 2. So let me use my calculator. What is 4 combination 2? 4 combination 2 is equal to 6 plus 12 combination 2 from my calculator is 66 divided by 40 combination 2 is 780. And 66 plus 6 will give us 72. So this is 72 divided by 780. And we can reduce this one to the lowest term as what? Because we know that 12 can divide 72 how many times? 6 times. And 12 can divide 780 in 65 places. And hence, this is said to be the probability. And now let me show you the second way, the other way to do that. So the probability P will be the probability of physics plus probability of biology. But you know that in each case we are going to pick 2 teachers. So from physics, remember there are how many in number? There are 4. So if you should pick from 4, it will be 4 out of 40 because we have 40 number of teachers. Then multiplied by, now the second selection, remember you have taken 1 already. So from physics, we have 3 left. And from total, we have 39 left, right? Then plus, coming to the biology, you know there are 12 in number. 12 out of 40. Then multiply by 11 out of 39. 4 times 3 is 12. Divide by 40 multiplied by 39. This will give us 1,560. Then plus 12 times 11 will give us 132. Divide by 40 times 39 is 1,560. We are going to add the numerators because we have common denominators. This will give us 144. Divide by 1,560. And this still to the lowest term will give us 6 divided by 65. And this is said to be the probability. So this is all about this question number 5. Now let us move on to question number 6. Question number 6a. If 135 to base k is equal to 231 to base 4. Find the value of k. Let's start with A first before we come back to B. So 6A, we are given that 135 in base k equal to 231 in base 4. So let us convert this to base 10, likewise this to base 10. So we take 1, we multiply it by the base, which is k, we add, take 3, multiplied by the base, which is k, plus take 5, multiplied by the base. Assign index. This is 0, this is 1, this is 2. Then you move to the right hand side. You take 2, you multiply it by 4. You add, you take 3, you multiply it by 4. Lastly, you take 1, you multiply by 4. Assign index 0, 1, and 2. Let's simplify this. K squared is k squared times 1 is still k squared, plus k to the power of 1 is k times 3 is 3k, plus k to the power of 0 is 1 times 5 is 5, and this is equal to 4 squared is 16, and 16 times 2 is 32, plus 4 to the power of 1 is 4 times 3 is 12, plus 4 to the power of 0 is 1 times 1 is still 1. Let's simplify. This is still k squared plus 3k plus 5. And this is equal to, let's add these numbers together. If you add this to this, you're going to get 44 plus 1 is 45. Take 45 to the left hand side, it becomes negative. So you have 5 minus 45, which is negative 40. So k squared plus 3k minus 40 equal to 0, which is a quadratic equation in terms of k. Now you think of two numbers that you can multiply together to get 40 negative, but when you add them together you get positive 3, and the numbers must be 8 and negative 5. So you have k plus 8, then k minus 5. This is equal to 0. Then you set each factor to be equal to 0, either k plus 8 equal to 0 or k minus 5 equal to 0, which implies k is either negative 8 or k equal to positive 5. But remember, k is what? K is nothing but the base, and our base is always a positive number, and therefore we conclude that k equal to 5 is the solution, right? So k is equal to 5. Now let us move on to the B part, 6b. So question 6b reads, a sector of a cycle of radius 21 cm has an angle of 120 degrees at the center. We are asked to calculate the perimeter as well as the area of that sector. Okay, what is a sector? Remember, if you have a cycle like this, suppose this is a cycle, a sector is something like from the center, this is a radius, this is also a radius. So this portion here is a sector of the cycle, and it sustains an angle of 120 degrees and the radius of 21 cm. So Roman 1, we're asked to find the perimeter of what? Of this sector. The perimeter is what? The distance around a given figure. So we need this length, and this length. So we have two radius and an arc. P, which is for the perimeter, equal to 2 radius or 2 radii plus the length of arc or arc length. So we need to find the length of the arc. And how can we find it? So arc is equal to the angle subtended, which is 120 degrees, divided by the total 360, multiplied by what? 2 pi r. 2 pi, they say we should use 22 divided by 7 as pi. 22 divided by 7, then multiply by r, and r is 21. I will compute everything using my calculator. So we have 120 divided by 360 multiplied by 2, multiplied by 22 divided by 7, then multiply by 21. Altogether, I have 44 centimeter. So the perimeter will be 2 times the radius, which is 21, plus the length of arc, which is 44. 2 times this will give us what? 42. So this is 42 plus 44, which is going to give us 86 centimeters. So this is said to be the perimeter of that sector. We have answered the Roman 1. The Roman 2, we're asked to find the area of that sector. Roman 2, we're asked to find the area. Remember that area of a circle is what? Pi r squared. But this is just a portion of a cycle. Therefore, we have to take theta out of 360. And the theta is 120, which is the angle subtended by that sector, out of 360, multiplied by 22 divided by 7, multiplied by 21, multiplied by 21, because r squared means r times r, which is 21 times 21. So I would like to multiply all of this together. We have 120 multiplied by 22, multiplied by 21, multiplied by 21, and this is equal to 1164240. That is 1,164,240. Then we divide by 360 times 7, and this is 2,520. Then we divide. This is exactly equal to 462 cm squared, and hence this is said to be the area of that sector. Now for question 6c, so for question 6c, we have to simplify the Sodic expression 3 divided by square root of 5 plus square root of 2 minus 1 divided by square root of 5 minus square root of 2. So first of all, we need to find the LCM, and we can simply multiply the denominators. So it will be square root of 5 plus square root of 2 multiplied by square root of 5 minus square root of 2. Then if you take this, you plug it into this, it will give you the other factor, which is square root of 5 minus square root of 2, which you're going to multiply by 3, right? So we have 3 multiplied by square root of 5 minus square root of 2. Then you subtract because of this sign. If you take this and plug it into this, this will be left, and you have to multiply it by 1, right? So we have 1 multiplied by square root of 5 plus square root of 2. So let's simplify. To the top, we have 3 times square root of 5 is 3 square root of 5 minus 3 square root of 2. Then this minus will affect everything inside. Minus 1 times square root of 5 is minus square root of 5. Minus 1 times square root of 2 is minus square root of 2. And to the bottom, we have nothing but difference of 2 squares, because you can see they only differ by sign, plus or minus. So you take the first one, you square that, you subtract, take the second one, you square that as well. So this is equal to, you can see we have 3 quantities here and single quantity here. If you subtract, you get 2 quantities. So we have 2 root 5. And this minus 3 minus 1 is minus 4, right? So we have minus 4 square root of 2 divide by square root of 5 squared is 5 minus square root of 2 squared is 2. This is equal to 2 root 5 minus 4 root 2 divided by 3. So we have just simplified it, but if you so wish, you can also break it down. That is not must. This can be written as 2 over 3 square root of 5 minus 4 over 3 square root of 2. And if you so wish, again, you can factor out something, because you can see we have a common factor of 2, but just leave it like that. So this is all about question number 6. Let us move on to question number 7. Question number 7, the A part reads, the sum of the ages of a man and his daughter is 60 years. 6 years ago, the man's age was thrice that of his daughter. We're asked to find their present ages. And the second question reads, find the equation whose roots are -3/4 and 5/6. And lastly, we are asked to evaluate this numerical expression. All right, let's get started. The A part, I would like to declare the age of the man with M and that of the daughter with D. After we have made the declaration from the question, it implies the man's age plus the daughter's age equals 60. So this is our first equation. And according to the second statement, 6 years back, so we are going to subtract 6 from each age. 6 years back, the man will be what? M minus 6. And the daughter would be what? D minus 6. So 6 years ago, the man's age is thrice that of the daughter, meaning the man's age is equal to 3 times the daughter's age, which implies that M minus 6 is equal to 3 multiplied by D minus 6. Then we can simply take this -6 to the other side. We have M equal to 3, D minus 6, then plus 6, right? You expand, we have 3 times D is 3D, then minus 6 times 3 is 18, then plus 6. This is equal to 3D. -18 plus 6 will give us -12. -12. So M is equal to this. But remember from equation 1, we have that M plus D is equal to 60. But M plus D equal to 60. But M is nothing but 3D minus 12. So instead of M, we have 3D minus 12. You can even call this one equation number 2 and state that we are substituting equation 2 into equation 1. So we are substituting equation 2 into equation 1. So wherever we have M, we replace it with 3D minus 12. So this is 3D minus 12 plus another D. This is equal to 60. Then we collect the like terms. 3D plus D will give us 4D. So we have 4D to the left equal to, this is negative. The moment it crosses over, it becomes positive. 60 plus 12 is going to give us 72. Then we divide both sides by 4. And 72 divided by 4 is 18. Therefore, D is equal to 18. But remember, D is what? Daughter's age. This is what? 18 years. So what about the man's age? The man's age is 3D minus 12. Equation number 2 is M equal to 3D minus 12. 3D minus 12, which is equal to 3 times 18 minus 12. 3 times 18 is 54. Then we subtract 12, we have 42. So this is 42. So we conclude that man's age is 42 years, while daughter's age is what? 18 years. And if you want to confirm, you can add these two ages together. It must give you 60, because the question stated that the sum of the two ages equals 60. So now let us move on to the second part of the question. So to form this quadratic equation, we are going to take x squared, we subtract the sum of the roots, we multiply by x, then we add the product. Then we equate everything to be equal to 0, right? So this is x squared minus the sum, meaning we should add these two together, minus 3 over 4 plus 5 over 6. Then we multiply by x, then we add. The product will be -3 over 4 multiplied by 5 over 6. And this is equal to 0. All we have to do is to simplify. This is x squared minus, the LCM between these two numbers is what? This and this will give us 24, right? 24. Then 4 into 24 is 6. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. Then plus 6 into 24 is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. So we have 20 here times x. Then this time this will give us negative 15. Divide by 4 times 6 is going to give us 24. The whole of this equal to 0. We know that negative 18 plus 20 will give us positive 2. So we have x squared minus 2 over 24x minus 15 over 24. And this is equal to 0. Now we can multiply every single term by 24. 24 times x squared will give us 24x squared minus 24 times this will give us 2x minus this times 24 will give us 15, and this is equal to 0. Now we have our quadratic equation, 24x squared minus 2x minus 15. So now let us take the last question under question number 7. So the C part, we are asked to evaluate this numerical expression. Let me rewrite it. This is 4 multiplied by, if you simplify this, it is the same thing as 169 times 1, which is still 169, minus 144, which is 25, divided by 169, raised to the power of 1 over 2. Multiplied by, since we have negative 1 here, we can take reciprocal of this and neglect the exponent, right? So this becomes 13 over 2. Power of 1 over 2 is nothing but square root of that number. So this is square root of 25, which is 5. So we have 4 times 5 divided by square root of 169 is 13. Multiplied by 13 divided by 2. 4 times 5 is 20. So we have 20 divided by 13. Multiplied by 13 divided by 2. You can see that this will cancel this. And 20 divided by 2 is equal to 10. And hence the final answer is 10. Now let us move on to question number 8. Question number 8a, we are asked to evaluate without using tables 5 log 2 plus log of 40 minus log of 12.8. And the B part, we are asked to find the equation of the curve which passes through the point negative 2, 5 and has a gradient of 6x squared plus 8x minus 3 at any point on the curve. And lastly, we are asked to differentiate the function 3x squared plus 4x minus 5 with respect to x. All right, let's get started. You should know that according to one of the laws of logarithm, this 5 can serve as a power of 2. So a part, we can write it as log of 2 raised to the power of 5 plus log of 40 minus log of 12.8. Let me remind you something. According to one of the laws of logarithm, if you have log of a plus log of b, this is the same thing as log of a times b if it is addition. And for subtraction, if I have log of a minus log of b, this is the same thing as log of a divided by b. So where we have addition, we multiply the arguments, and where we have subtraction, we divide. So this is the same thing as log of what? The whole of 2 to the power of 5 is 32. So we have 32 multiplied by 40, then divide by 12.8. 32 times 40 is equal to 1280 divided by 12.8. If you use a calculator, it take 1280 divided by 12.8, that will give us 100 exactly. So this is log of 100. You should know that 100 is the same thing as 10 to the power of 2. So this is log of 10 to the power of 2. And this 2 can simply drop down to multiply, right? So this is the same thing as 2 log of 10. But what is log of 10? Log of 10 is equal to 1. So this is the same thing as 2 multiplied by 1, which is equal to 2. Therefore, the whole of this expression, when simplified, will give us 2. You should know that this is log to base 10. A log of any number having the same base as the number is forever equal to 1. So this is 2 times 1 equal to 2. Let us take the second question here under question 8. We're asked to find the equation of the curve which passes through -2, 5 and has the gradient 6x squared plus 8x minus 3 at any point on the curve. So what is this gradient? This gradient is nothing but dy over dx. So if dy over dx is equal to 6x squared plus 8x minus 3, to find y, we are going to integrate both sides with respect to x. Therefore, if you do the same thing to the left-hand side, you have y, and we have to integrate 6x squared plus 8x minus 3 with respect to x. Let's do that. This power will increase by 1, it becomes 3. We have 6 divided by 3, which is equal to 2. So we have 2x to the third power. This naturally has a power of 1. You increase it by 1, it becomes 2, and you have to divide by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4x squared minus, if it is constant, just attach x, then plus the constant of integration. And hence this is the y, this is the equation. But we have to find the value of c. At what point? At a point where x is -2 and y equal to 5. So at -2, 5, we have 5 equals 2 multiplied by -2 to the third power plus 4, -2 to the second power minus 3, -2, then plus c. You should know that -2 to the third power is -8. -8 times 2 is -16. -2 to the second power is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. -3 times -2 is +6. Then plus c, this is 5. This and this will cancel. And if you take 6 to the left-hand side, it will become negative. 5 minus 6 is -1, and hence c is equal to -1. All you have to do is to bring it back in here, right? So y is finally equal to 2x cubed, 2x cubed plus 4x squared minus 3x plus c, but c is -1, and hence this is the equation of that curve. Then lastly, we are asked to differentiate the function 3x squared plus 4x minus 5. So 8c, we are asked to differentiate this function dy over dx equal to, this 2 will drop down to multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. X, subtract 1, it becomes 1. You don't have to write it. Then this has a power of 1. It will drop down to multiply 4. Then x raised to the power of 1 minus 1 is 0. So x to the power of 0 is 1. So you don't have to write it. And derivative of constant is 0. So you see, this is the solution. Now let us move on to question number 9. Question number 9a. We are given 2 square matrices A and B. They are 3 by 3 matrices. Roman 1, we are asked to evaluate 3 multiplied by matrix A minus 2 multiplied by matrix B. And Roman 2 of A part, we are asked to find the determinant of 3A minus 2B. All right, let's get started with this one first before we come back to B. We have 3 multiplied by matrix A, and matrix A is nothing but 3, 1, 2, 2, 0, negative 2, negative 1, 1, and 0, right? Then minus 2 multiplied by matrix B. Matrix B contains elements 4, 3, 0, 2, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, 1, and 2. This is the only thing we are asked to simplify or evaluate. These scalars will multiply every single entry of this matrix. So let me start with this one. 3 times 3 will give us 9. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Then second row, 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 1 is 3. Then the third row, 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. 3 times 0 is 0. Then I would like to use subtraction. I will only use the scalar 2 to multiply the entries. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Then second row, 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. 2 times 2 is 4. All right. We are only going to relate corresponding elements. So this goes to this goes to this, in that order. So 9 minus 8 is 1. So we have 1. 6 minus 4 is 2. Negative 3 minus negative 6. It is the same thing as negative 3 plus 6, which is positive 3. Second row. 3 minus 6 is negative 3. 0 minus negative 2 is positive 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. Then last row, 6 minus 0 is 6. And minus 6 minus 4 is going to give us minus 6 plus 4, which is negative 2. And lastly, 0 minus 4 is minus 4. And this is nothing but what? 3a minus 2b. So we have answered the A part. Then the B part, we are asked to find the determinant of the matrix we have just formed, which is this one. We are asked to find the determinant of this matrix. To find the determinant, you know the determinant, this is how it looks like. We have a vertical stroke like this. This indicates determinant. And you should assign plus, minus, plus here. How do we form this matrix? Take plus 1. We have 1. Then form a matrix by deleting this column and this row. We are going to form another matrix of 2, negative 2, 2, negative 2, 1, and negative 4. Then you should take minus 2, form a matrix by deleting this column and this row. We have negative 3, 6, 1, and negative 4. Then lastly, we take plus 3, form a matrix by deleting this column and this row. We have negative 3, 6, 2, and negative 2. Next, we are going to find the determinant of these three matrices. So this is equal to 1 multiplied by 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. So we have negative 8 minus negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. So negative is plus 2 here. Then minus 2. This times this will give us positive 12. Minus 6 times 1 is 6. Then plus 3. This times this is positive 6 minus 6 times 2 is 12. We simplify. Negative 8 plus 2 is negative 6 times 1 is negative 6. 12 minus 6 is 6. And 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. 6 minus 12 is negative 6. And negative 6 times 3 is negative 18. This together will give us negative 30. And this one, negative 36. So this is negative 36, which is said to be the determinant of this particular matrix. And we are done with question 9a. Then moving to question 9b. Question 9b reads, Mr. Tony took a loan of 120,000 naira at the rate of 12% per annum compound interest to buy a piece of land. Roman 1. If he paid the loan in 3 years, what is the total amount paid? Roman 2. Find his profit if he later sold the land for 350,000 naira without incurring any additional expenses. All right, let's get started. B, Roman 1. You should know that this amount is nothing but a principal amount. Then what else? We are given the rate R as 0.12 because 12% is the same thing as 0.12, right? And T, which is time, number of years, is given as what? 3 years. So what is the formula for finding the amount? A is equal to P multiplied by 1 plus R to the power of T. This is equal to 120,000, 1 plus 0.12 to the power of 3. This is 120,000 multiplied by 1.12 if you add the two times together, raised to the power of 3. So now you should use your calculator to take 1.12, raise it to the power of 3. Whatever you obtain, multiply that by 120,000. And this is equal to 168,591.36. So this is the amount he paid. And we have just answered Roman 1. Then Roman 2, we're asked to find the profit if at all he sold the land at the rate of 350,000. So B, Roman 2, we are talking about profit, which is equal to what? The selling P minus the cost P. Selling price minus the cost price. But you should know that we are not going to use 120,000 because this is exactly what he paid, right? So we are going to include this one. So the selling price is 350,000 minus the cost price, which is 168,591.36. And this is equal to 181,408.64. So this is the profit made. And that is it for question number 9. Let us move on to question number 10. Question number 10. A bucket full of water is 40 centimeter in diameter in the open end, 24 centimeter in diameter in the bottom end, and 32 centimeter deep. The bucket is then emptied completely into a cylindrical drum of 56 cm in diameter. Find the level of the water in the drum to the nearest whole number. We're asked to take pi as 22 divided by 7. Okay, for better understanding, let us draw a bucket as well as this drum. So here we have a bucket as well as a drum. According to this question, the diameter to the top of this bucket is what? 40 cm, which means that 20 will be the radius because I'm interested in the radius alone. So if this is the center to this part, this will be what? 20. So this is 20 cm. And to the bottom, it is what? 24 cm. And half of 24 is going to be what? The radius, which is 12. So if this is the center to the circumference, we have 12 cm here. And I can connect this in order to obtain the height. And the height is given as what? 32 centimeter. So this is 32 centimeter. Then for the cylindrical drum, the diameter is what? 56 cm, which implies the radius will be what? 28. So from the center to the circumference of this cycle will be 28. So it implies that the water here is completely filled up, and the water is also completely emptied into this container, which is what? In cylindrical form. So we are asked to find the height of the water in this cylindrical container. So we're looking for the height here. So we need to find the volume of this water first. This is a frustum, and to find the volume of a frustum, we need to sketch a cone. And this is the height of the cone. So if we should call this height of the cone, what will be the entire height of this big cone? It will be 32 plus h, right? So this is 32 plus h. So if you observe, we have a smaller cone here which has a height of h, and the big cone here which has a height of 32 plus h. So we are going to apply the idea of what? Similar shape in order to find the volume of h. Because to find the volume of the frustum, we need to find the volume of the entire cone, the big cone here. Then also we need to find the volume of this smaller cone. Then subtract the volume of this smaller cone from the volume of the entire big cone. What is left will be the volume of the frustum. And to do that, we need this h definitely. So let me do something here, because we have a big cone, we have a small cone. Let's write some parameters here. The big cone has a radius of 20 cm. So let me use capital R for the big radius. Is what? 20 cm. And it has a height of 32 plus h. So I will use capital H for the height. That is 32 plus h. Then for the smaller cone, it has a radius of what? 12 cm. And the height remain what? H. So you should know that according to the similar shape, this capital R divided by the small r will be equal to capital H divided by the small h. So capital R is 20, small r is 12. This is equal to capital H is 32 plus h, and small h is h. Then by cross multiplication, we have 20 multiplied by h, which is going to give us what? 20 h. This is equal to 12 times 32 is going to give us what? 384. Then plus 12 times h is 12h. If you take this 12 to the left hand side, it becomes negative, and 20 minus 12 is 8. So we have 8h equal to 384. Then we divide both sides by 8, and hence h equal to what? 48 cm. And therefore the height of that smaller cone is nothing but 48 cm. So how can we obtain the height of the bigger cone? we can simply plug it here, 48, right, to get the height of the bigger cone. Therefore, capital H, which is equal to 32 plus H, 32 plus H is now equal to what? 32 plus 48, which is going to give us 80 cm. Therefore, capital H is 80 cm. So now let us go ahead and find the volume of the bigger cone as well as the smaller cone. We are coming back to this one, don't forget. So the volume of the big cone, let me say V sub B, this is equal to, remember that volume of a cone is 1/3 multiplied by the volume of a cylinder, and the volume of a cylinder is what? Pi r squared H. So we're going to take pi r squared H, because remember we are using capital letter for the bigger cone, and this is equal to 1/3 multiplied by, they say we should use 22/7 as our pi, and capital R, remember, is 20 squared, then multiply by H, which is 80. So what I will be doing here, I will take 22 times 400 times 80, right? And this is 704,000. Divide by 3 times 7 is 21. Then we divide. If you divide by 21, you have 33523.81 cm cube. This is the volume of the bigger cone. Then we need to find the volume of the smaller cone. Volume of the smaller cone is equal to 1/3 pi r squared H, everything small letter. This is 1/3. Pi is 22 divided by 7. Remember our radius for the smaller cone is 12 squared. Then what is the height? The height is what? 48. So we have 48 here. So let's simplify. We have 22 times 144, because 12 squared is 144, times 48. That will give us 152064. Divide by 3 times 7 is 21. And if you divide by 21, you have 7241.14 cm cubed. This is the volume of the smaller cone. So to find the volume of the frustum, which is the bucket, volume of frustum is equal to volume of the bigger cone minus volume of what? The smaller cone. So the volume of the bigger cone, I think, let me just copy that. This is the volume of the bigger cone, the minus volume of the smaller cone, which we have here. Okay, all we have to do is to subtract. And we have 26,282.67 cm cube. So this is said to be the volume of the water in that bucket. But remember that this volume, entire volume here, has been poured completely into a cylindrical container, which is right here. So we want to find the height, the level of that water. So remember that the volume of a cylinder is equal to what? Pi r squared H. And the volume is already known, because the volume of the water will be the same volume after you have poured it into the cylindrical container. So we have our volume, we have our pi, which is 22/7. We have the radius, which is 28. Then we make H the subject. So how can we make H the subject? It will be volume divided by pi r squared. And that's just it. So what is the volume? The volume is what we have just obtained here. Let me pick it. So here is it. Then divide by 22/7. Multiply by the radius squared, which is 28 squared. 28 squared. And this is equal to 26,282.67. Divide by, let me use my calculator to simplify this in decimal. That will give us exactly 2464. Then we equally divide 26,282.67 divided by 2,464 is equal to 10.67 approximately. But remember, they said to the nearest whole number, so we are going to approximate it to 11. I remember that this is what in centimeters, and hence the height of the water in this cylindrical container is 11 cm to the nearest whole number, and hence we have just answered this question. Now let us move on to question number 11. Question number 12 reads, the scores of students in a biology test in a particular school are given as 12x, 15, 2x, 25, 12, 30, 15, 25, 12, 16, and 12. All these scores are for how many students? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there are 12 students. If the mean score is 18, find the value of 2x. Find the mean deviation. Find the standard deviation. All right, let's get started. If I were you, I'll form a frequency table because we have repeated numbers like 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. It appears 4 places. You can see 15, we have one here, we have another one here. For the value of x, we can add all of this together, divide by 12, and equate it to be equal to 18 because that's the definition of mean. Mean, which stands for x bar, is equal to what? Summation of all x's divided by n. But this is given from the question as what? 18. So the x's are this, 1, 2, up to 12. Let's add them together, divide by n, which is the number of items, which is also 12, right? X bar equal to 12 plus x plus 15 plus 2x plus 25 plus 12 plus 30 plus 15 plus 25 plus 12 plus 16 plus 12. The whole of this divided by 12. I remember the mean is equal to 18. Okay, you can see we have x plus 2x making 3x. So we have 3x plus the whole of the numbers. Let's add them together, which is 174. This is equal to, you can cross multiply this times this, right? So we have 12 times 18. So 3x plus 174 is equal to 216. You can take this one to the other side. You have 3x equal to 216 minus 174. And 216 minus 174 is equal to 42. So 3x is equal to 42. To find the value of x, we divide both sides by 3. X is equal to 42 divided by 3. And x is equal to what? 14. So if x is equal to 14, let's start by finding 2x, which is a part, right? We're asked to find 2x. But since we know that x is equal to 14, it implies that 2x is equal to what? 2 multiplied by x value, which is what? 14. And 2x is equal to what? 28. Now let us move on to the second one. We are asked to find the mean deviation and the standard deviation. If I were you, I will form a frequency table for this. Let's go ahead and do that. So before we do that, I would like to substitute back the value of x as well as 2x. Remember, x is 14 and 2x is what? 28. So let's bring all of them back. So these are the x values we have. X is 14 and 2x is what? 28. X values. Let me start with the smallest one. We have 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have them as 4, right? So the frequency of 12 is 4. So we have 12, which is what? 4 in number. Then followed by 14, which is just a single value, right? So we have 14, which is just 1. 15, we have 1, we have 2. I think they are 2 in number. So 15, we have 2 of them. We have 16, which is also a single value. We have 25, 1, 2. They are 2 in number. So 25, they are 2 in number. And then we have 28 and 30. They are all 1, 1 in number. 28 and 30, 1, 1. Already we know that the mean of the data is given as 18, so we don't have to compute the mean. What I would like to compute the next is x minus x bar. X minus x bar. X bar here stands for the mean, and x here are these values. And I would like to take the absolute value because I need the positive values. So I think I should write the x bar here. X bar is given as 18, don't forget. So x minus x bar means we should take 12 and subtract 18. And that will give us what? Negative 6. But since we have an absolute value, it will transform it to positive. So we have 6. 14 minus 18 is negative 4. Absolute value of negative 4 is 4. 15 minus 18 is negative 3. Absolute value of negative 3 is 3. Then we have 16 minus 18 is negative 2. Absolute value of negative 2 is positive 2. 25 minus 18 is already positive 7. 28 minus 18 is 10. Then finally 30 minus 18 is 12. We are done with this one. Then I would like to compute for frequency multiplied by the absolute value of x minus x bar. So we are going to take this and multiply by this, right? And that will give us 24. We take this, we multiply by this, that will give us 4. We take this, we multiply by this, that will give us 6. This time this is 2. This time this is what? 14. 10 times 1 is 10 and 12 times 1 is 12. Then we move to the next column. I would like to compute for x minus x bar whole squared because we are computing for standard deviation, don't forget. This is x minus x bar. Then we are going to square all these values, all of these. 6 squared is 36. 4 squared is 16. 3 squared is 9. 2 squared is 4. 7 squared is 49. 10 squared is 100. 12 squared is 144. Then I would like to compute for the frequency multiplied by x minus x bar whole squared. Meaning we are going to take these values and multiply by their corresponding frequency. So let's start with this one. 4 multiplied by 36. That will give us 144. 144. Then we take the frequency here, which is 1 times 16 is still 16. 2 times 9 is 18. 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 49 is equal to 98. 1 times 100 is 100. 1 times 144 is 144. So we have finished computing the table. All right. Having done this, we need to sum the frequency, the f of x minus x bar, and f of x minus x bar whole squared. Remember the frequency, we have them as 12. If you add them, 4 plus 1 is 5, plus 1 is 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. They will move to the next one, which is this one. If you add all of these values together, you're going to get 72. So this is 72. I will move to the last one, f of x minus x bar whole squared. If you add all of them, you're going to get 524. So now let's start answering these two questions, the last two, the mean deviation and the standard deviation. So 12b, mean deviation is equal to what? The summation of what? You can see the column here. F of the absolute value of x minus x bar. F, the frequency, multiplied by the absolute value of x minus x bar. Divide by summation of f. And you can see the summation is already here, which is 72. So this is equal to 72. Divide by summation of f, which is 12. So we divide by 12. And 72 divided by 12 is equal to 6. Therefore, mean deviation is equal to 6. As simple as that. Then moving on to the standard deviation, 12c. Standard deviation is equal to the square root of the summation of f of x minus x bar whole squared divided by summation of f. This is the formula. And already we have the whole of this. Summation of f of x minus x bar whole squared is 524. You can see that here. Summation meaning we should add all of this together. And that will give us 524. So this is equal to the square root of 524 divided by summation of f, which we have as 12. And 524 divided by 12 will give us 43.666 recording. And the square root of this is equal to 6.61 in 2 decimal places. So the standard deviation is 6.61. And hence we have just answered completely question number 12. And this is all about NECO 2023 Mathematics Examination essay questions. Thank you for watching. Do share to your learning colleagues and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more exciting videos. Bye-bye.